In today's video, I'm sharing with you a recent book haul. Let's get right into it. Okay, friends, you all know I have been pretty good about reading this year. I'm so proud at the fact that I have been reading more. I think I am about to finish my 13th book of the year, and that has already surpassed my expectations, but I have just been diving into the hobby of reading, getting books, and we all know that like the act of book shopping can be a bit of an addiction. So I have a book haul to share with you in today's video, and a lot of people have been asking for some more book content, so hopefully you like this one. This is going to be a part 1. If you want a part 2 to this, let me know, but I'm going to be sharing a haul of 10 books, and it's not exhaustive. I have other books laying around the place. I have ebooks that are all compiled into my Kindle, so if you want a part 2, like I said, let me know. But I'm going to jump into these 10 books. I'm going to tell you why I picked them up, and I will give you a brief synopsis of each of them to see if you're interested in any of them. And if you are, do let me know in the comments. One last disclaimer, I did get some of these books as gifts from like other publishers, but I also work at a publishing house. I work at Hachette Book Group, so some of these have also been provided by Hachette Book Group, but they're still part of my haul, and I'll tell you exactly why as we jump into it. So, starting with the first book, which was gifted to me by a publisher. It was gifted to me by Atria, to be specific. It is Wilderness Reform. And I really wanted this book because I actually read another book by these authors, Matt and Harrison Query. I read Old Country by them, and I believe that was their first book, but they have experience in the creepypasta world, so I think they have started their career on creepypasta doing all sorts of creepy stories, and you all know that I love a creepy story, and I do love creepypasta, so that was my initial appeal with reading Matt and Harrison Query. I did like Old Country. I didn't love Old Country, but I have high hopes for this one, Wilderness Reform. So it's basically about a wilderness camp for teenagers that is plagued with a bunch of creepy shit, and the teenagers have to essentially survive and make it through this wilderness camp. I don't know what's going to be going on, but I do know from experience with Old Country that these authors are really good at creating a nice environment, a really impactful environment, especially the summertime, summer camp vibes. That was one thing I really loved about Old Country, so once again, I have high hopes for this one. Let me know if you did read Old Country, by the way, and if you liked it. I actually did a whole podcast episode on that, on my horror podcast. Mixed thoughts, to be honest. Okay, moving on to the next book, The House That Horror Built. Now, I honestly picked this up truly because I was browsing around a bookstore one day and I spotted it there, and I loved the font. It gave me like nostalgic horror movie vibes, and when I read the back of the book, I was like, you know what? This was not on my list. I have never heard of it before, but I'm gonna pick it up because it sounds really cool. So this one is about a single mother that is working, I believe she's like a housemaid or something of the sort, for a famous horror movie director. And as she's doing her job in this mansion, she discovers some really creepy stuff. So it's giving horror movie vibes, but not too spooky, maybe on the more Halloween-y type of vibe. I don't think I've ever read a book that was more on the Halloween side, so I am willing to give this book a go. I've heard good things about it. I've heard good things about the author, so I'm excited. Okay, the next one is Motherthing. This one I spotted on TikTok. A lot of people have been talking about this book on TikTok, and I'm one of those people, I'm learning, that really likes weird lit fic, and I think this book falls into that area. So because I was seeing a lot of great reviews about it, and I've been seeing that it is definitely a weird lit fic pick, I went with it. And this one is about a woman who has to take drastic measures to save herself and her husband from the ghost of her mother-in-law. I have a feeling it's going to be quite feminist, so, you know, who doesn't love that? I am excited for it. I think it's going to be dark and it's going to be weird, but it's also going to be slightly funny, and I'm into that, so looking forward to that. Really love the cover too. People say don't judge a book by its cover, but I 100% do. The next book is another book that I saw on TikTok everywhere, and it was also in that realm of weird lit fic. It is Eileen. And I did not know that this was a major motion picture, but it is now a major motion picture. So I definitely want to read this before I see that movie. Also, I believe this takes place in the winter, so I'm probably not going to read this anytime soon. I like to read books set in certain seasons during that season, so I'm going to pick this up in the winter. But it is about a woman who is trapped in the role of being a caretaker for her alcoholic father, and they're living in a house that is quite run down. It's really bad. And I don't know what goes down in the house, but I cannot wait to find out. Okay, the next one, surprise, surprise, is another TikTok find. I happen to go on my For You page and I scroll and I get a lot of book talk videos that are specifically like weird girl book recommendations. And I save them every single time. And when I start to see a lot of repeat books, that's when I'm like, all right, I think I need to pick it up. So once again, I picked this up because of those very reasons, A Certain Hunger. I think I've shown this in a video before very briefly, just showing the cover of it and what I thought it was about. And somebody made a comment that was so funny. They were like, the way that you described what you think that book is about is going to, you know, really shock you. So this book is about the story of a serial killer who is a successful food writer and eats men. I looked up the synopsis. I mean, of course I'm looking up the synopsis as I'm purchasing it, but I looked up like a thorough synopsis after seeing that comment on a previous video, and I thought it was so funny because I think what I said in that initial video was like something about food writing, and I'm so excited to talk about, or I'm so excited to read food descriptions. And what do you know, it's about cannibalism. But anyway, I am super excited to see how this author kind of blends all of those things together, because that screams me. It's weird, it's creepy, it's got food involved. I don't know, I think this is gonna be one of my favorites. But that was a really funny comment. Thank you for commenting that, by the way, it was hilarious. Okay, moving on to a book that I did get gifted. This one was also gifted by Atria. It is The Rule of Three. And I think I was really interested in getting this one because they compared it to another creepypasta, or in the creepypasta realm. And once again, I love creepypastas. I love horror. This one is described as The Whisper Man meets The Blair Witch Project. Love that movie. And it's essentially a thriller about an urban legend coming true. So this screams creepypasta just from the synopsis. I am so looking forward to reading more books that are kind of blending between traditional publishing but also creepypastas, because I think creepypastas, what are so great about those is that they aren't part of the traditional publishing world, and so they get to experiment, create, and play around a lot with the horror. And so seeing that kind of move over to the traditional publishing is exciting. So I cannot wait to read that one. The next one is another one that I was gifted. This one was gifted by Gallery Books. I love Gallery Books so much. They're the best. I've been working with them for years, and one repeat author that I always get from them is Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware, fun fact, after college, when I took a huge break from reading in general and reading for fun, I picked up a Ruth Ware book. I can't remember the name of it right now. I think The Woman in Cabin 10. She got me back into reading for fun, and that was like right after college, maybe a couple of years after college. So I give a lot of credit to Ruth Ware, and that's why when people say that she's a really hit or miss author, I'm always willing to give her a try, because I don't know, I owe her a lot, if that makes sense, although she probably has no idea who I am. Anyway, Ruth Ware. This one is called One Perfect Couple. It's giving like super summery vibes. I wanted to read this during the summer. Seeing that it's August now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try my best to squeeze it in. It is a thick one, and you know I like short books, but this one is about 5 couples that are trapped on an island, and there's like a massive storm happening, and there is a killer that stalks among them. So that sounds super fun. It sounds like a thriller that I can kind of jump into and consume super quickly, and that's part of why I really like Ruth Ware, and why I'm always willing to give her a try. But yeah, super excited. I hope I can get to this season. Probably won't be able to. The next one, this one has been provided to me by my job. It's called We Mostly Come Out at Night. So this is an anthology. It's like a young adult anthology, but it is spooky. It's creepy, obviously. Of course, I wanted to get a copy of my own for this one because it is creepy. It is horror related, but it's also quite inclusive. They're all queer tales in here. There are 15 short stories in here, and they are essentially new takes, new perspectives on classic monster stories. So love everything about that. Would love to start reading this soon, maybe during Halloween time. Since they're short stories, I can probably jump through story to story at my own discretion, but love the whole concept behind this one. Okay, we're almost down to the end of it. The next one is another one that I got from my job. I love this cover. I wanted this book simply for the cover. I'm definitely a cover judger, and I'm proud about it, to be honest. I love this cover so much. It is nostalgic. It gives me 80s Miami horror vibes. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but it's called The Most, and again, I want to read this during the summertime. I just recently went to the pool, and I wish that I took this one with me when I went to the pool because it's a really short book. I hadn't realized how short it is. I could have probably read this in one sitting while I was at the pool. As you can tell, I'm a big mood reader. I'm a big seasonal reader. But yeah, that was the main reason why I wanted this book to begin with. But I have heard that it's kind of like weird lit fic / spooky vibes. A 1950s American housewife who goes into her family pool one day, and apparently she never gets out of it. So I'm so curious as to what happens to this person. It sounds creepy, it sounds spooky, but it does give a little bit more of literary fiction vibes as opposed to horror. But we'll see. I've been seeing a lot of those two genres colliding in such a cool way. So I'm looking forward to this for sure. And I love a short read. I love books that are like 250 pages or less. My favorite kinds of books, I'm learning. Okay, and then the last one, again, is from my job. It is How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive. Need I say more? I love horror. I needed to get this one. So I got this one. And this one is by, I'm pretty sure, a well-known horror writer, DiLouie. So I'm gonna assume that this is going to be a really, really good one. I've been seeing it all over the place as well. But what it's about, a famous 80s slasher director is trying to make the scariest movie ever, the scariest horror movie ever. And so he's using an occult camera to film the movie, and the camera just might be possessed. So it sounds fun, but it also sounds super spooky. But that is my little haul. I think that's little. For me, personally, that's a lot. But I know for a lot of people, hauls can be upwards to like 50 books at a time. Like I said, I have more books laying around the place. So if you want a part 2 of this, let me know. And I will definitely scrounge up the other books that are truly stuck in little crevices of my house at this point. It's not a hoarding problem though. It's a collection. And my collection just happens to be tucked in different areas of my house. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Once again, let me know if any of these books sound interesting to you. I will actually link all of the books in a bookshop.org link, like a wish list, so that you can click into that and get the whole book list for yourself if you are interested in any of these books. Let me know if you've read any of these books already and you like them, you didn't like them, you have opinions to share with me before I begin them. But I appreciate you. Thank you once again for all of your comments, just feedback in general, but also suggestions for future videos. I always take your suggestions and I always try to make a video out of them. So thank you so much, and I will talk to you in next week's video.